It's Marcia Cork. I'm a certified change practitioner and diversity professional. For years, I've helped corporate teams and professionals navigate operational changes and improve workplace culture. Now, I create simple public speaking, communication, and change solutions that turn everyday people into confident professionals and entrepreneurs. Change is hard. Change is messy, and change is scary. I know because just a few years ago, I was in a rocky marriage, unemployed, and broke, all at the same time. Eventually, though, I had to lean in, trust my skill set, and be my own solution. I'm also a seasoned voiceover talent and the voice of many of the brands you know and trust. So I know a little something about moving from hardship to entrepreneurship and helping you reset and rebrand. I'm Marcia Cork, and I am the Change Coach.
Hi, I'm Kennetta Calloway. I'm a native Washingtonian. I have lived, worked, educated, and raised my children in this great city. I was a civil servant for the federal government for 38 years, and I recently retired on January 16th.
All right, so enough about box talk. Let's see you in action. We're going to work on the manuscript speaking style. We're not going to do message framing because you said you did not do the message framing exercise, right? Okay, but we'll move on to the manuscript speaking style. So I'm going to stop the share and let you pull up your presentation. Do you want to share your presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
I can share mine. Hello, my name is Kennetta Calloway, and I'm a native Washingtonian, and I've lived and worked, educated, and raised my children in this great city. I was a civil servant for the federal government for 38 years, and I recently retired from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Oh, there we go. I don't know what's wrong with this slideshow. It was supposed to be off the.
Yeah, it must be on some kind of timer.
Yeah, it's a little off. I'm sorry, and I apologize for that.
No problem. Okay.
But on average, over 2,000 returning citizens are released from prison and back into the D.C. metro area a year. Many returning citizens return home without any support system or designated residence, and often end up homeless. According to the National Alliance to End Homelessness, Afro-Americans make up 86.4% of the homeless population in Washington, D.C., while representing 46.6% of our city's population. 33% of people in D.C. experiencing homelessness point to incarceration as a contributing factor. D.C.'s only halfway house, Hope Village, houses House for Men, closed in 2020, which left over 300 men displaced and out on the streets, which further increased the homelessness.
Jump back to that slide, or if you end up having candid conversations during your presentation and it actually ends up taking more time to deliver that particular slide, then it's going to keep moving forward and you're going to find yourself, it just won't be a fluid presentation. You'll be doing a lot of stumbling. Yeah.
I
So
appreciate that.
I suspect that when you were doing the pitch, doing the presentation, you were probably timing it to see if it was coming around that 7-minute mark.
Yes.
And then, it got stuck on the timer. No, I understand. Well, I think this was great. I see that you incorporated everything that we've talked about. I love that last slide and how you were able to, highlight the make a donation portion and actually show people where and how they could find the information on your website. You did mention an email address afterward, which I don't see on this screen.
Right. I will add that because it's in my notes. The email information is in my notes.
Okay. And you definitely want them to be able to, have that visual on screen, be able to copy down that email address. Or if you are sharing your slides, if you share your slides or if you print out copies of the slides to hand out to any participants, that information would then be on that slide as a takeaway.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And I will definitely add that on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think you've captured the right information. As I look at your bullet points, You've included the information that will still be relevant and helpful to them if they take away the slides as a notes, or if they're just relying on your slides, the bullet points that you've included here. I think you've captured just the right amount of information. Love the picture of the backpacks. It would be helpful if you are able to get another picture of the different things included in the backpack.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah,
that might be helpful too.
Okay.
So now that you have the presentation ready, what I would like to do is have you go back to slides 2 and 3, and we're going to work on your manuscript speaking style. So we'll use the information that you have here, and then you're going to recreate this technique, or replicate this technique on anything else that you write up and then have to present. So it's a way of getting yourself comfortable with reading from a script, but being able to make it sound conversational. So while you have this slide up, now this will be a cold read for me because I don't know your slide, I don't know the content, but I'm going to try to read this speech in a way, or read these 2 bullet points in a way that still sounds conversational. Okay. Yeah. So the average person would read it and they would say, "Hi, my name is Kennetta Calloway. I am a native Washingtonian, and I have lived, worked, educated, and raised my children in this great city." Right? That's how people would read it.
Right.
But you want to get to the point where you're able to see words quickly, lump words together, highlight the nouns, the adjectives, and the verbs, because those are the words that you're going to give a little special attention to, and then you'll learn to speak that in a way that sounds conversational. Okay. So, hi, my name is Kennetta Calloway. I'm a native Washingtonian, and I've lived, worked, and educated and raised my children in this great city. I was a civil servant for the federal government for 38 years, and I recently retired from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency on January 16th of 2021, just this year. My goals and my aspirations after retirement were to travel the world and, to volunteer in my community, but COVID came. COVID changed those goals and slightly put the traveling part on hold, and made for me to instead live my dreams, volunteering and serving my community. I loved helping people, and around March 2014, that gave me a purpose for my passion, and to begin serving. So you see how you can still take written information and still make it sound like a conversation, because you'll think about the words that you just think about the natural flow of the way that you speak. And then you pair words together. So you wouldn't say, "Hi, my name is Kennetta Calloway." You would say, "Hi, I'm Kennetta Calloway." Right? You would say, you wouldn't say, "I am a native Washingtonian, and I have lived, worked, educated, and raised my children in this great city." Right? You wouldn't say that. You'd say, "I grew up in DC. I've lived, worked, educated, raised my children, all the things in this great city." Right? Because that's how you would take the same information, but turn it into the way that you would. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So what you would do is you would take this same slide, when you write a speech, of course, it's going to be probably typed up in a Microsoft document or a Word document. And then as it's printed out, then you're going to highlight certain areas. So I'm going to share my screen again because I want to show you the pre-recorded version so that I don't ramble. Okay. But you can get the gist of the exercise from the pre-recorded. Okay, I'm stopped sharing. I'm not sharing anymore. All right, so you highlight the important things. So what I have here is what's important, you underline. And again, this is to help you master the manuscript delivery style. Now, you know what? We had problems with you hearing the audio before. So let me just stop for a second and see if I can fix that. Okay. All right, let's try again and see if it works. I don't know that it is, but I'm just I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see what's on the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. And hopefully you can hear the audio. All right, so first you're going to imagine yourself telling a recent story. Again, just think back to your natural speaking voice, the way, all the things that you do when you're having a regular conversation. I want you to think about how you sound when you're excited, how you sound when you're sharing sensitive information, the way that you sound when you throw in some giggles and some sighs, and you're already starting to do that. I've seen that in the deliveries that you've done already today. You're already doing that. Think about the mood. Think about the actual content of what you're delivering at that time, and you want to match. You want to match the emotion of that content. So you're going to underline, you're going to highlight, and make notes of the pairings and groupings of words that you're going to emphasize, but also make note of what you're going to understate. So what that means is not everything on the page is important. Right. So if you say, and I went to the store yesterday. If that's not a key part of the story, it's just one of the things that happens, then you're not going to say, and I went to the store yesterday. Right. You're just going to say, I did this, and I went to the store yesterday. Right? And that's how you roll it together. You're not going to overemphasize it. So you're mimicking your natural speaking voice. And like I was just saying, I want you to resist the urge to overemphasize some of the adjectives, the pronouns, and the verbs, because you do want to highlight those, but only if the content really calls for you highlighting that particular group of words. Settle into a natural cadence. When you hear it and you notice a pattern while practicing, you'll know this is your signature flow. So I know how I sound. If I open any recording of myself, I can almost replicate my delivery just because of the way that I talk and the way that I group words together. I can almost, like I said, I can almost replicate exactly how I'm going to deliver. So you will get to the point where you recognize that in yourself. I can already hear your flow. Yeah. I can already hear. So eventually you'll get to the point. And the best way to do that is to start recording yourself as you're speaking. And the ABC exercise will even help you do that too. I've gotten to a point now where I can even repeat the way that I deliver the ABC exercise. It's not always the same, but I know that I'll start off. Like one of the things I do is after I say my introduction, so I'll just do it, for example. I'll say, my name is Marcia Cork. I'm here to talk about the ABC exercise. And ABC. So I often start that way because it just feels natural. Okay, right. but it just goes into a part of the way that I introduce myself and the way that I roll right into content. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this is going to play. Can you hear that?
I cannot. I don't know why. It seems like I hear like some background noise.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, I will share this with you afterward.
Okay.
Because at least then you'll be able to just play it, and you'll be able to look at this slide, play it, read alongside the video. Okay. You'll see what I'm doing, and you can do the same thing. So you can see the screen right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I have secret highlighted, I have confidence highlighted, and I have practice highlighted. So when I did a cold read, I decided those were the things that I wanted to emphasize. So I highlighted it and I underlined. So that I call this technique underscoring. So you know how we refer to underlining as the underscore. So you decide what you want to highlight. Right. So I have a red pause, a red line next to innate, and you'll see I have them a couple of lines down on after it looks like, after how it sounds. And I have those there because I want to remind myself that while I have a comma there, it's not just a regular comma. I actually want a pause. I actually want a dramatic pause there. Right. Okay. So I make that line there to remind myself. Okay. You'll see I have looks like, how it sounds, and how it feels. I have say this slowly written under there. So it's just a quick note to myself that I want to use that dramatic pause, and I want to say it a little more slowly than my normal speaking voice so that people get it. I want them to feel that pause, that dramatic and impactful pause. Yeah. Okay? So I'll read just those two lines based on the information that I've already shared. Okay. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. For some people, confidence isn't innate. It's a practice. So do you hear that? Do you see how secret was highlighted? Confidence. I paused after innate, and it's a practice.
And it kind of sets the stage. It prepares people to anticipate the secret.
Well, exactly. And of course, this isn't what they're going to see, because they're not going to see your speech. This is just what you're doing for preparation.
Right.
But they mirror your emotion. Mm-hmm. So where you pause, then it creates that mystery. It creates that suspense. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. Yes. So this line here, that's right. You have to practice confidence. So it's something that I want to highlight, but I don't want to say, that's right. You have to practice confidence. Right. So I'm not overemphasizing it, but when I say it, I want it to be pronounced enough, and I want that whole sentence to roll together, because it's not about just the words practice and confidence. It's about that whole sentence. So that's going to be, that's right. You have to practice confidence. Mm-hmm. Instead of that's right, you have to practice confidence. Right. So you see how I didn't exaggerate the verb this time? So it's still the same two words that I had highlighted in the previous sentence, but I'm not overemphasizing them this time, because it's about that entire phrase altogether. That's right. You have to practice confidence. Okay? You have to learn what confidence looks like, how it sounds, and how it feels. Mm-hmm. So you see how I said that slower?
And it resonates. When you say it that way, it does. You walk away saying, wow, you're right. You have to practice confidence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's go into the next paragraph. Okay. So I'm just going to read it first, and then I'm going to read it the way that I would do to create the mood. Okay. Mm-hmm. Great public speakers and those who look comfortable in front of the camera aren't all born with it. They practice. And the truth is, this practice isn't really about turning you into a great public speaker. It's about being confident in who you are and being your best self for your brand and those watching. So now I'm going to reread it, putting the emphasis on the things that I've highlighted. Right. And again, when you see those words underlined, they are words that are important, but you don't want to highlight them independently. You want to say them all together. So now the words that I do want to exaggerate a bit, those are highlighted. So camera, they practice, best self, brand, and those watching. But the words that I want to underscore, but roll them all together, I've underlined together. Mm-hmm. Okay, so great public speakers and those who look comfortable in front of the camera aren't all born with it. They practice. And the truth is, this practice isn't really about turning you into a great public speaker. It's about being confident in who you are and being your best self for your brand and those watching. Yeah. Can you see that?
I saw, yes.
Okay.
I saw the difference, and I heard the emphasis placed on those words that you really wanted to highlight and
exactly.
emphasize. So yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's what you will do moving forward with every script. Yeah. That you speak. I mean, every scripted speech. Now we've been talking about extemporaneous style all this time. I've been teaching you how to talk off the cuff. You're just identifying 3 points, 3 areas of conversation, and then you're relying on top of mind and personal information. But sometimes we write our speeches out. Sometimes we write out the whole thing, but you don't want to read the whole thing. You still want it to feel just as conversational as it would feel if you were just talking off the cuff. And this is the technique for doing that. Okay, so the last sentence, now that you know the technique, so you know what it means to highlight something, and you know what it means when you have groups of words underlined together. Okay? So here are a few ways that you can work on looking and sounding like a spokesperson or brand ambassador in 60 seconds or less. Record yourself doing these exercises and share on social using hashtag #MeBeTheBrand and hashtag 0 to 60 confidence. It's time to be the brand with confidence. Okay? So with your presentation now, that's what you're going to do. You're going to read it and reread it and reread it. You're going to print it out for yourself. You're going to highlight certain words. You're going to underline certain words. You're going to add dramatic pauses where you feel like they're necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and get used to presenting that written speech. And then eventually you'll hear that natural cadence in your voice. It will be instinctive. You'll be able to put emphasis on the adjectives, the nouns, the verbs, but the right ones. Yeah. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now let's have you practice that. I want you to we have about just under 15 minutes left. I'd say about 12 minutes left.
Okay.
And I want you to, do you have a printer? Do you, or do you have anything printed out already?
I've already printed my presentation.
Perfect. All right, so do this.
Okay.
Highlight the words, group words together, add your dramatic pauses, read it to yourself, and then try to deliver.
Okay.
So slide 1 or slide 2, or any slide you'd like to use.
I'm going to use, it says I'm going to use slide 2 and 3.
Okay.
That's it. I'm just going to go into my presentation and just do the highlight, hidden highlighter.
Okay. I'm getting fancy.
I tell you, this is something that I would have normally done when I was working for the government. But it's like, when I retired, it's like when I retired, I'm just, look, like I said, I'm cutting it off. I'm going to take and become a true civilian. I feel like I've given my life to the government. Now it's all about me. So anything that's associated with all that government business work and board meetings and management meetings, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to have any part of it.
Now, see, what you're supposed to tell yourself is that you put in all those years, you developed a valuable skill set, and all those skills you take with you and you apply them to the things that you want to do.
And that's basically what I've been doing. I'm like, Kennetta, who am I fooling? I'm like, I have to admit, I love what I did,
Good.
I'm like,
and not everybody can say that.
Yeah, it's hard to disassociate yourself from something that you love doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, this is just natural for me. I'm like, as much as I want to say, I'm just kind of cutting the ties with all of this and, just becoming this new person. It's like, girl, you're not fooling anybody. Nope. That's who you are, So, okay, I'm just highlighting some things.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, the way it reads. Hi, my name is Kennetta. Hi, I'm Kennetta Calloway. I'm a native Washingtonian. I have lived, worked, educated, and raised my children in this great city. I was a civil servant for the federal government for 38 years, and I recently retired on January 16th of 2021. My goals and aspirations after retirement, I was planning to basically travel the world and volunteer in my community. Then COVID hit, and we all know that changed everything, and slightly changed my goals and put my traveling on hold. But it made a way for me to be able to volunteer and serve in my community. I have always loved helping people. And basically, in March of 2014, it gave me a purpose and passion to serve.
Do you hear the difference in what you just did versus actually presenting it earlier?
It felt comfortable. I felt like I was just talking and having a conversation.
And
but you know what? And highlighting these words, it
mm-hmm,
brought it out for me. So I didn't feel like I had to memorize everything I saw on that paper. And
mm-hmm,
I felt like I could just talk very candidly and
mm-hmm.
present who I am.
And it's
So
the
yeah,
same thing that you're doing with box talk. Do you see that? Why
yeah,
I don't have you write out a full sentence? You put it
yeah,
oatmeal. You're talking
yeah,
about oatmeal. All you
yeah,
had to put down was grandmother,
yeah,
fiber, comfort food.
yeah,
And the rest, you just talk,
yeah,
top of mind. You don't have to read to
yeah.
deliver an effective speech.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So it's the same exercise. So you see how that technique
Hmm.
applies here.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I felt it. I felt that,
Mm-hmm.
just highlighting those keywords that I wanted to emphasize,
Mm-hmm.
it gave me room to feel more comfortable and just being able to to improvise if I
Right.
wanted to, and not be just held to that script,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Very good. I
Yeah.
am
Did you?
pleased with just this one page. No, go on, move
Oh,
on to the next. No, move on to
well,
the next
great.
page. Let's see what else you got.
Okay. Um, And in March of 2014, my children's father was released from prison. And my family and I served as a support system for him, which was very emotional during that time. We were at a loss and didn't really know where to go or to look to even get support from outside. Thankfully, we were in a position where we could basically help provide for his basic needs, meaning to help him to be able to travel to and from job interviews and be able to hopefully get the job that he was seeking. Um, and also in our despair, in a sense, um, which we basically did further research and discovered that there were many resources and services that existed in DC for returning citizens. But the problem is, without a computer or a smartphone, this information isn't exactly public knowledge to returning citizens.
Excellent. Do you feel the difference?
I felt it, and it felt good not having to really stick to the script. Well, sticking to the script, I
Mm-hmm.
was able to highlight and bring forth those words and incorporate those feelings and emotions
Mm-hmm.
to help, deliver the message and captivate the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this is the manuscript style of speaking where you actually
yeah,
are writing a manuscript, but
yeah,
then you're taking that information and making it feel like an extemporaneous speech. You're making it
yeah,
feel like you're delivering without having to read from the script. And that's
right.
the most that's
Yeah.
that's it at its best. That's the underscore exercise.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. And I will definitely start using this technique more,
Very good.
and practicing that. Yeah.
All
So,
right.
yeah, well, thank you. You have been awesome. I
Thank
tell you,
you.
you have really helped really frame things for me. Things are the techniques that I probably definitely had used in the past,
Mhm.
but and using them now currently in my current role and helping to basically bring to life
Mhm.
the whole story and the whole just being able to what's the word I'm trying to use to
It's doing what you've always done, just doing it more
yeah,
effectively.
right, exactly, and it
Yeah.
is, and being able to share the story about
Hmm.
my life and what caused me to want to start a nonprofit organization.
Hmm.
So yeah, it definitely it's making it more effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
I
funny
thank
that you
you.
said to give life because
Yeah.
that's exactly what I say in my tagline is that I teach
Yeah.
people how to give life to their speeches and to their
Absolutely.
conversations because they're incorporating my acronym is CPR. It's
Yeah.
your credibility, it's your personality, and your
Right.
relatability. And those are the three things that go into telling your story, right?
Absolutely.
How
Yeah.
you are related to the subject, how you are a subject matter expert, and how you're a credible source just by living and sharing your own experience. And
Right.
that gives people a glimpse into your personality, and that's what makes you relatable, and that's what makes the speaking opportunity successful.
Yeah.
So that's it in a
Well,
nutshell.
thank you.
And thank you because it requires you to actually do the work to
Yeah.
really see, how it all comes together. So we've been
Right.
building on this You're looking at that ABC exercise like, I don't know why reciting the alphabet is going to be helpful, but it is.
But I know it is.
Yeah.
And
I don't know why talking about
it.
oatmeal is going to be helpful, but it is.
That's right. It's all relevant.
It is.
Absolutely. Yes. I would love to be able to continue this, even, if on a retainer or on just a consultant basis.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it is, but I still would love to have that connection where we can, you can still be there to coach and mentor me, through it all. So yeah, I would love to continue this relationship.
Okay. Well, I will follow up with you by email. Keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I have really enjoyed these sessions. Good.
And likewise.